you don't really need to force it. The next word just flows off the tongue. Gentlemen, welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to be discussing a question that was given to me by one of my Twitter followers around anxiety and confidence. Now, it's first important for me to kind of delineate the rationality behind why you experience anxiety in order for you to mitigate said anxious feelings. So first of all, here's what we need to understand. On a lizard brain level, on a primal level, we have functions that serve our survival instincts. Now, you might more commonly know these as fight or flight responses. I even believe now they're calling it fight, flight, or freeze to denote freezing in the sake of a predator. So if I take you back hundreds of thousands of years to our early ancestors scrounging around on the forest floor for food, and then suddenly they're confronted by a saber-toothed tiger. The nervous system shoots up energy in the form of cortisol levels coming up, freeing up sugar to be accessed by the strong muscles in your leg for you to get away of said stressor. Now, fast forward hundreds of thousands of years, past the agricultural revolution, the rise of civilization, we come to a place where that saber-toothed tiger has been replaced by Debbie in our office, who is shouting at us because we haven't got in our fucking papers in before Friday. I don't know what the case is, but we still feel that stressful moment. We still feel that uptick of cortisol and sugar in the blood that cause that anxiety, that jitteriness, that uncomfortable sensation around your chest. So how do we mitigate said feelings? I think it's also equally important to denote that anxiety and also depression have no real place in your life and serve no real utility. Anxiety, they say, is you're identified with your mind in a future event. Okay, you've identified with scenarios that have not come to be. So how things will work out, what people are going to say if you wear that particular shirt to that family do. If you say a certain thing to a stranger at the till, how are they going to take it? You keep planning these things over and over and over again. You're never really here. Same thing with depression is you're fixated about an event in the past. What you said to that girl when you were on that date, and it's causing you those uncomfortable feelings around your chest, around your neck, and it causes your stomach to twist and churn. Past event. It has no bearing on the present moment. And there, in fact, lies the antidote to your particular predicament. It's focusing on the present moment. You don't want to be in the future. You don't want to be in the past. You want to be right here. So how can you anchor yourself to the present moment? You do this through the breath. Now, this is why it was so important for me to delineate why, the rationality, the science, the process of why you're experiencing these jittery, anxious feelings. Because otherwise, breathing, Joseph, of course it's breathing. So here's what you do. Here's what you need to understand. When you breathe in, your heart rate goes up. When you breathe out, your heart rate goes down. When you're in fight, flight response, when you're anxiety, when you're over-identified with your mind in the future on, what to say next, what people are going to think about you, you're identified with your mind, you're identified with the future, you're in fight, flight response. You're looking for danger. You're looking for the next thing you need to be mindful of. That saber-toothed tiger never really comes, by the way, guys. It never really has no bearing on the threat to your life, apart from maybe a little bit of becoming a little bit of a social pariah. Anyway, so how do you anchor yourself back to the present moment? Through the mechanism of the breath. You want to get back into your parasympathetic nervous system. This is that rest, digest, nurture when you're winding down to the end of the day. That relaxed, semi-lucid state when you're easily susceptible to those flow states. You ever just get into those zones where you're maybe conversing with someone and you don't really need to force it. The next word just flows off the tongue. You don't really need to refer to this mechanism here between your ears. You don't need to use intellect. You need to use intuition. It just comes to you. So this is the state that is more favorable in those moments when you're experiencing that heightened, that anxiety, that irritability even. breathe. Especially that exhale, which, like I mentioned, brings your heart rate down. It brings you into the parasympathetic nervous system. It brings you into that relaxed, semi-lucid flow state where you want to be. So here's the exercise that you need to do. If ever you feel the biokinetic symptoms of anxiety, jitteriness, twisted, stomach, any kind of, again, elevated emotions that make you compromised, this is what you do. You take a moment, you breathe, and you exaggerate the exhale. So you might breathe in for 4 seconds, breathe out for 6 seconds. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 6. And do that for a couple rounds, and you'll notice those symptoms start to dissipate of their own accord. You will notice that your heart rate comes down. You will notice that your palms are no longer sweaty. You will notice that the words that you want to say come more freely to you without you contracting and clenching and grabbing at them to make some kind of social impact, let's say. And it really is that difference between contracting and just allowing yourself to relax into the present moment. You're not referring back to the intellect where it's taking you away with its thoughts, with past events that have no bearing on the present moment. Because ultimately, you then realize you have the control, you have the disposition to make whatever moment is in front of you yours. And you can approach it with relaxed lightheartedness, create a little bit of laughter, a little bit of joy, and you'll find that that anxiety gets smaller and smaller as you focus your attention on the moment in front of you through the mechanism of your breathing and with more intimate detail on that exhalation. Getting back into parasympathetic, rest and digest. There's no threats here. We're all friends. So, gentlemen, I highly, highly encourage you, if you ever suffer from any kind of social anxiety or anxiety in general, even if you're public speaking, for example, this can be a very, very useful technique to get back into that zone. Another good technique, just while I think about it, is box breathing. You may have heard this because it was popularized by many military personnel. The breathing pattern takes the shape of a box. So you're breathing in for 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhaling for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you do those rounds 3-4 times, and you'll come back to equilibrium. You'll come back to balance. You'll come back and better be able to enter flow states that have no bearing on your anxiety. So, gentlemen, if you subscribe to anything which I have said, if you have any experience with said techniques, drop them in the comments below. I'm sure everybody would love to hear from your success, not just myself. And if you subscribe to that, you can subscribe to me, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon. You take care now.